Cool. Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are you, everyone? All good? Cool. Let's quickly introduce ourselves. Adil, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Microsoft Reactor event. Today, we are here to talk about an interesting topic, Azure Cognitive Search, here with Hatem, my colleague. Thank you for doing this topic with me. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today at the Microsoft office. And just to briefly introduce ourselves to you all, my name is Hadil Shubeir. I am a regional cloud advocate and data analytics engineer at Microsoft Reactor, Middle East and Africa. So basically, kind of what we do is we host sessions just like this in person and online, kind of exploring tech topics, specifically in data science, analytics, AI, machine learning, and exploring other kind of cloud technologies and topics as well, just like what we're doing today here with Hatem. With that being said, Hatem, I leave it to you.
Thank you, Adil. So my name is Hatem Nagarwala, and I lead the Azure Developer Audiences team across Middle East and Africa. Our job mainly is to help developers to upskill themselves, get used to new Azure technologies, and in a way where we try to engage you as much as possible through whichever way you want. So one of the mediums is, coming and talking to you in meetups like this, and trying to learn from you of, what are your expectations, what you want to learn, and stuff like that. Okay. So do we keep an audience introduction too?
We can.
Because we are like,
we're streaming online.
Yes.
And we have an in-person. So
just your name and, what do you do? I think very short.
My name is Blair. I work at Data Brands.
I think it's good to give him the mic.
Okay, that's great.
I'm Shri. I'm working as a data engineer at Tata Consultancy Services.
Amazing.
Yes.
My name is Cesar. I work as a software developer. I'm a colleague of Ahmad Azhar.
Oh,
okay.
Nice. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. On to you.
Hi, my name is Ashel. I am a student.
Yeah.
I study computer science and business information systems.
Amazing.
Great.
On to you.
My name is Maxime. Actually, I'm student too, and also I'm working as Python developer.
Amazing.
Nice.
My name is Rajai. I'm studying here and studying computer science.
Thank you all for being here with us today. It is a pleasure to have, a wide audience. And of course, thank you for our online audience for joining us as well. Please feel free to kind of, send us your questions if you have any throughout the chat. I think we should start.
We should start.
Let's go.
So I think so. I just had one more question here. So we have a kind of a mixed audience.
Yeah.
We have people who are like architects. We have people like students. So I wanted to understand, first thing is, have you heard about Azure Cognitive Search before? You use it? Okay, that's great. Rest of you?
Okay.
You haven't. Okay. So our agenda for today would be where we learn what exactly Azure Cognitive Search is, and we try to go deep dive into the technology, and we see what it has to offer us as developers and how we can utilize this in our applications, or wherever you work, how you can utilize this. So Hadid, let's start.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a portfolio for AI from Microsoft. Okay. Now, just to go before going into deep, right? I want to actually divide this into 3 parts. Okay. The AI services which Microsoft offers is divided into 3 types of people who are actually using the services. The first type of people are the business users who use Office products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And one of the features is live in front of you. So the captions which are getting generated right now are real time. So whatever I'll be speaking here is auto-generated with the help of AI, and that is infused in the Office applications by default. So you see all the applications like Office 365, Dynamics 365, and any partner solutions which use app source. You can actually utilize all this pre-built AI services which can be used in your business-based application.
Mm-hmm. So they're kind of categorized into sections depending on what background you're from. So if you're kind of like a business user, these are the products that you would use.
100%.
And if you're a developer in data science, you would use maybe cognitive services. And such.
Correct. Yeah. So I wanted to stress more on this now, which is, when you as a developer, you're stepping up into. So it's like the portfolio is available for everyone who is actually working with AI, right? Starting from if you are a developer, if you are a citizen developer, what a citizen developer is, who uses no code, low code platforms, where you are actually not writing code, but you're still building applications using Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents, right? So these AI services are available for all of them. So as you mentioned, Hadil, how it helps developers and data scientists, right? So for developers and data scientists is divided into, again, 3 more layers. At any point of time you guys have any question, or if you feel you didn't understand that part, just let me know and I'll try to explain that again. So the Azure AI for developers is divided into 3. You can consider it something where the matured APIs are on the top. The ones which you want to customize and you want to train it yourself are present at the bottom. So when you're training your own model, when you have your own data and you're working with your own data to run some algorithms on top of it and then make a machine learning model, you'll be using Azure Machine Learning in that case. Okay. If at all you want to still use the pre-built APIs from Microsoft, but you want to use your own custom scenario to build on top of it, you can actually use the middle one, which is the customizable AI models, where you will have like vision services, speech services, language and decision making services. So just as an example, we have one service called as custom vision. In custom vision, what you can do is you can actually have a classifying model where you can actually upload all your pictures and you can actually train the model depending on what the pictures mean to you or your company or your business solution. Just as an example, I can upload dog pictures and I can say this is cat for me. Okay. So scenarios like this, you can actually do it with custom vision, where it takes the power of machine learning models which Microsoft has already trained, but depending on the new pictures which you upload, you can actually train the model and tag it according to your business needs. And the good part over here is you don't need, so in the first part over here in machine learning, when you are actually building up a model, you need thousands and millions of data to actually train that model. But here in this case, you might just have a sample of data like 3 to 5 images, and you can still train your model on top of that using the customizable AI services.
So Hatem, actually, as a data scientist myself,
yes,
so these are the kind of cognitive services that I can obviously use for like the projects that I want to build for in data science and such.
Correct.
Basically, depending on kind of what area I want to focus on.
Yes, 100%. And if you want to go one step ahead, what you can do is you can use the base AI services which are available for developers and data scientists. So for example, you can actually go ahead and directly use form recognizer. You can use cognitive search. Cognitive search is one part of it, which we will be discussing into details. We have bot service, we have metrics advisor, immersive reader. So there are many other APIs also. We actually, when we see cognitive search, it is kind of a combination of I'll come up to that on how you can actually use other cognitive services or APIs with your cognitive search to actually build your own search model. So I think that's clear for you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Amazing. And clear for the audience. That's great. Okay, so I have a small video which I wanted to show you about knowledge mining. And while the video is going on, Hadil, can you tell me what is knowledge mining?
So by my understanding, knowledge mining is basically you have like a wide base of data that you have, and you want to kind of extract information and insights from that data. Okay. This is kind of to kind of add value and insights to what you are working on, because we live in a world where we're generating massive amounts of data every single day.
100%.
So I think knowledge mining is the way where you kind of extract valuable information from resources or data that you have to kind of build your insights and do so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So actually this is exactly on the point. So knowledge mining, exactly what it does is it helps you to actually learn from the data what you have. You are actually working with your data which is available, and you actually build a model on top of that where you can utilize this in your applications as well. So what are the common use cases I think so you think of, Hadil, here? And just before this, I think so when we were talking about knowledge mining, do you know how much data we generate every day?
Lots. Lots, billions and top quintillions probably.
I think yes. So it's around 2.5 quintillion of
Bytes
data
of
which we
data.
generate every day, like from your pictures, from the documents which we generate and stuff like that.
Yeah. How much is quintillion? How many zeros is that?
It's 18 zeros.
18 zeros. That's a lot. Okay.
So that's the amount of data which we have, and the reason which we want to add cognitive search on top of that is this, that what will you do with all this amount of data and how would you actually get useful information from your data, right? So there are many companies or many areas where we can actually go ahead and use that. Some of them are on the screen. So for example, you can use this in enterprise search, in knowledge mining, in document intelligence, and catalog search. Do you work with a lot of documents at your work?
Oh my God, Hatem. It is a struggle finding always the right document, especially like when you're in a rush, you need to present something, for example. Yesterday, you and I were kind of searching for the PowerPoint presentation. It took us a while to go and find it. So it is
100%.
actually a struggle that we find,
Correct.
finding the right document at like a very important time, let's say.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah.
So this, for enterprises, we have this as a major issue where you are creating documents on the fly, you're creating images, you're creating so much of data that as an enterprise it kinds of sometimes reduce your productivity. As what Hadil said, we were actually looking for this presentation yesterday to see and to prepare ourselves, right? It took us maybe around 5 minutes to actually find the right place where the presentation is, and this actually affects the productivity on a longer run. Okay,
very time consuming as well.
Yes, correct. So this is one of the use case scenario which cognitive search can be a good part of it. Another one is knowledge mining, that is finding the right content at the right time. This has happened to me many a times where I go to Google and I search for something, and sometimes what happens is the thing which I wanted to search, it actually has the same name, and I'm trying to search and it gives me some other results, right? So these kind of things is where you can actually have some relevant knowledge of what you want to search, and then that relevant knowledge is applied to your search engine, so that whenever you are putting the search on top of your data, you can actually get relevant information and semantic information what you require as per your search query. Other one is the document intelligence and the catalog search. Catalog search is I think you might be using it every day. You all use Amazon, right? Correct. On Amazon, it's you won't imagine this is a part of the business, one of the businesses where if you're searching for a product and so you might have heard about SEO, where you search something on Google, it comes up on the screen, and you pay for keywords, and that's how it comes on the screen, right? In Amazon, it's more of cataloging, where you actually pay for the visibility and pay per click. So how much times a product has been searched, which product comes up, and how many times a user has clicked your product. So this is kind of a way to provide relevant products to your customers through cataloging and through providing proper data descriptions to your end users. So these are some of the common applications where you can actually go ahead and use the cognitive search. So again, we want this to happen, that every day the amount of data which we are generating, this is going to increase every day by day, depending on the new cameras which are coming up, new smartphones which are coming up, the size of the images, the size of the data, it keeps on increasing, right? So as we are speaking, this is increasing day by day. So we at some point of time, we have to think about it, that how we are actually collecting this data and how we are actually utilizing or making sense out of the data which we have collected. Okay. So
here actually, Hatem, the reason why Azure Cognitive Search, I believe, is like a very important thing is because us as users, or maybe as developers, data scientists, or as humans, basically, generally, there's like finding the right document or knowledge is actually very time consuming. As you mentioned earlier yesterday, it took us like 5 minutes, which is time consuming, and this it's all about the productivity. So actually, some insights actually show that Hatem, 80% amount of the data that we have is unstructured. So obviously from files, sensor data, images, videos, and all that unstructured data, that's a huge number.
That's
80%.
Huge number. Yeah.
And actually 82% of professionals say it takes, obviously, they struggle a lot with processing that data because of, obviously the vast amounts of data that we have coming in every single day, and I believe it will only actually increase even
Correct.
more. So
100%.
and that being said, of course, it's a huge problem. So the productivity or the loss of money that we have is $14K of productivity that is lost per year per worker, which is actually a huge
A huge
problem.
amount.
So obviously, finding knowledge is difficult, and this is just one of the problems. We actually have another problem that we struggle with, and I think this anyone can relate to in a way, and that is basically search solutions. Sometimes they struggle to provide the correct or the relevant results that we search for.
Correct.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Hatem, you and I kind of you would go on Google maybe or Microsoft on Bing, and you would search for something, but then sometimes as humans we make like spelling mistakes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what it does is it will the thing is it will not process the exact right of information, but it's supposed to process, try to understand what you want to say, try to get the data that you want and provide you with the correct results.
Correct.
So
Correct.
this is where kind of it's a struggle to find the knowledge. That being said, there's like actually 4 key points here that you have to kind of focus on. You need to get rid of any non-relevant results, anything
Correct.
that's not related to what you're trying to search in a search engine. You need to kind of make sure that the information is always semantically relevant to what you're looking for in order to get the right results. So once you put the data in the search engine, it should give you results that are relevant to you, as well as kind of the rank. Like
100%.
if you're looking for, like, for example, what is the capital of France? It would give you
Yes.
Paris as the first answer. So it should
Agree.
give you the answers in correct kind of order. And then obviously it should be user optimized. So obviously as users, we are always kind of, wherever you go on a search engine, it will kind of focus on the AI models and such. They would kind of focus on your browse history and your preferences to kind of recommend to you what you are trying to search for and give you a better user generated experience. So this is kind of the second part of this problem.
I actually remembered one scenario which I wanted to share is this user optimized search is so important in some cases. So I was working with one of the grocery apps here in UAE with the same intent of providing best search results to their customers, right? And what we found out, or what we tried to implement over there, is we kind of built an AI model which helps a customer. So they kind of built a chatbot out of that on the application, on the grocery application, where you said, okay, I want to order 2 liters of milk and maybe 1 kg of apples. Okay. The problem we were trying to solve out here was, when the user types this on the chatbot, the grocery app should actually take the 2 liters milk and the brand of the choice of the customer. So if I am ordering Almarai, for example, it should add the 2-liter milk of Almarai to my cart. And same with the apples. So which apples I'm buying on my history of my ordering, it should go ahead and add 1 kg of apples to my cart in that case with the same brand. If it is not available, it should inform the user in that case. So this is kind of a combination of, you're searching something, right? You're searching for a milk and apples, but at the same time you want to provide an experience to your end user or to your customer that I am preferred for this brand, or I'm my history shows that I'm used to this thing and I want to have this kind of things to be served to me. Correct? So this is very good point which is available.
And the last part, Hatem, why is this a struggle? Because it's a problem to kind of, when we have search engines or search services, they have to require some specific dedicated resources to kind of give you the right relevant results that you're looking for.
Correct.
So for example, you need some expertise to manage the search ranking models, which I said before. You need to make sure that the answers that you're looking for are in correct order, from like high priority, for example, to least relevant. It will be very difficult to kind of manage infrastructure, softwares, and security, of course, with for internals and such. You kind of need always, continuous configuration, since data is always updated and always, up to date. So it needs constant configuration and continuous kind of, updates. And also using customized built AI. For example, we have natural language processing, which is an AI kind of model in order, or entity extraction, for example, to kind of help you solve complex solutions and such. Is there anything you want to add to this, for example?
I agree that this is a very difficult task
Yeah.
where it requires so much complex solutions if you want to actually make sense of the data which you have.
Yeah.
So I agree to this, and it's very difficult to manage. So I know some of the companies where they are not a software company, but they have to build some product like this, and at the end of the day, because they have to keep updating, they have to actually start a software unit in their company, which is they're not their primary business,
Yeah.
but they have to do that to
course.
maintain and make sure that the application is, or their internal system is fine.
So we have all these problems. I need you to introduce me to the solution.
Yes. So the solution is Azure Cognitive Search.
Yes.
All the problems we saw, how we can actually solve it with Azure Cognitive Search, what it offers, and how easy it is as an end user to actually go ahead, spin it up, and start working with Cognitive Search.
Yeah.
So the main problems which you saw is one of them the semantic search, which is you can actually configure, or you can set up your Azure Cognitive Search with the help of semantic search. You can configure it as you want, and what type of data you want to search in that case. You have, so this is platform as a service, so you don't need to run any infrastructure apart from where you are having your data stored. We'll talk about where you can have your data stored, how you can actually push into Azure Cognitive Services, Cognitive Search. You have language analyzers, you have faceting, you have proximity search, you have cognitive skills, and this is one of the very important things which you will hear a lot in the whole presentation, which is the cognitive skills. So for your cognitive search to perform very well, what is the combination of skills you're providing to your search, and how you're building that skills can land up to how you are actually building your indexes and then putting your search on top of your data. So let's jump in.
Yeah, so I was actually kind of wondering, of the architecture, how it actually works, what goes behind the scenes of Azure Cognitive Search. Can you take me through kind of, the steps in basic information, or maybe provide me with an example as well to kind of understand if you have that.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
So let me start from the basics, okay, of how and what the search will do, and then we'll come and compare it with this architecture. Okay. So there are mainly 3 steps. One is your data. Okay, you're bringing that data, putting some indexes. Indexes means, to give you a very simple example to relate it to a real world, at home, at our in our kitchen, we put stickers like this is sugar, this is tea,
Labels,
right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of a thing which we did at our house. And the last one is, this is kind of an index. So whenever I want to search for salt or sugar, it's very easy for me, pick it out and use it in my whatever process I want to use it for. Now the similar thing applies over here for cognitive search. The base part is your data, which is what data you want to search on. This is first. Second one is, there is something happening in between, which we will go into detail, but just to let you know that we are trying to understand what the data is, then run some skills on top of that, which is the cognitive skills or any custom skills which you want to build on top of it. Then you try to build indexes from that, and this service will be provided to your search algorithm. So what will happen is, the end user will use the search algorithm, you will have your data, and you will configure a middle pipeline which will help you to actually make sense of your data.
Yeah.
Does this make sense to you?
Makes sense, yes.
Okay. So there are 2 main things to keep it in mind. One is the knowledge store, and one is the semantic search. Okay. So your knowledge store is the customer data or the data which you have present, and the semantic search is your end result, which you are trying to search from the data available and whatever processings you have done in between. Okay. Now the middle part, let's go into detail and we will talk about them, but let's see what else we can do over here, right?
Yeah.
How you used to do that before using Azure Cognitive
Before
Search?
you kind of would take the data and it would kind of give you the results that it would give you, but without any kind of important tools or technologies, it wouldn't kind of understand exactly what you are kind of looking for. So it wouldn't really make sense. So now we have AI.
Yes.
And with AI models and machine learning and all these new technologies and such, it can help make search intelligent. And this is onto you to tell us maybe how you can how that
Correct.
happens.
So the difference between what traditionally we used to do and what we do right now. And I will give you very good examples where you can, understand how it works. Okay. So consider you are a company where you raise a lot of invoices. Okay. Now the invoices come back again and are present at somewhere, in your common storage and stuff, right? Now, what happens here is whenever your data is present in PDF files or Excel files and stuff like that, it is very difficult to actually get to know whether the invoice is paid or not. You have to go inside and check whether the invoices are paid or not, right? What will happen over here is you want an AI engine which will kind of open the document, know whether the invoice is paid, and then store it somewhere for me saying that, okay, this invoice number paid, this invoice number not paid, or something like that, or give me an overview information from my documents. Another good example which you can see on the screen is I have a job post, which I don't have it right now, but yeah, just hypothetically, I have a job post which I'm accepting candidates, and I have around 10,000 candidates, right? It is very difficult for me to actually go into each and every resume and find out whether they have relevant skills or not, which I've put into my job description. Okay. What will happen, or how the cognitive search would help me out over here is it will go ahead, enrich the data for me from the documents which are available as resumes to me. And at the end of the whole process, what I will do is I will just go ahead and I will search for it saying, give me candidates who has more than 5 years of experience. Okay. So what will happen out here is that my engine in between, which I talked about, which will go into details, will help me to enrich my data using AI, and it will kind of tag my data, or kind of build indexes in such a way that when I'm doing a semantic search on top of that, it will give me only the relevant resumes which kind of filter the criteria which I have, which is candidates above 5 years of age. How it does that? There is a concept which we will talk about, is something called as document cracking. Okay. I have another very good example. If I'm stuck with a challenge at work, right? The challenge is very big. What do people say? Okay, break into small challenges, do it, and your big challenge is actually sorted, right?
Minimize them. Yeah.
Yes. Similar way, the document cracking which happens over here in cognitive search, it helps you to actually crack your document into smaller bits, index it accordingly, so that your end result or the query which you run can understand from the data which you have mined to understand that what you are searching for and whether it is relevant to you or not. Okay. Let's go into much detail and see. So, do you see something familiar, Adil, here?
Sorry?
Do you see something familiar?
I see a lot of familiar things.
Okay. So, what I talk about enrichment out here is, now let's come up to the point of how we enrich this data, right? So, we are still talking about how we take these documents, what services we use, what exactly are the detailed services, and how and when it will be used when we are running it on top of our cognitive search for the data which we have. Okay. So, there are two types of services to keep in mind. One is the pre-built
model,
pre-built or built-in skills, you say. Okay. And the second one is custom skills. Okay. Now, let me talk about pre-built first so that everyone understands it. And then I will talk about the custom skills of how you can actually build that up. Okay. So the pre-built are, like, for example, language detection, tag extractions, key value phrases extraction, face detections, printed text recognition, sentimental analysis, right? So all this happens in your part of the search process. Okay. How you will ask me where I will use this or how I will use this, right? So just as an example, let's take, for example, printed text recognition, right? I have an ebook, and this was one of the examples I was discussing with Hadil. Is I'm in my student time, I had like 5 or 6 ebooks which I wanted to refer to find a definition for one concept. Okay. It was very difficult. I have to go into each and every book. I have to see that, okay, what does this book say? What does that book say?
Search for each one.
Search for each one of them manually, right? What this will do for me is the skill will try to read all the ebooks for me. So one of the skills which it will use it, the printed text which I had can be read through OCR and converted into a written text. Okay, this is first. Second is, for example, the exact definition where it is present. I can use maybe sentimental analysis on top of that. And I can also say that, find a code which Newton mentioned, right? So what it will do for me is, it will find out the celebrity, which is the celebrity recognition, and find out where the Newton's quote is, give it to me. And so this is another skill which I'm running on top of that. So you can run as many skills as you want on top of your data, and then get an output for you in terms of indexes, what type of indexes you build, and that's how it will be used in your search engines. Okay, there are many. For example, you have images you want to tag, and
Like Facebook, for example, image recognition. It
Yes.
would kind of identify
Correct.
the faces of people. You have speech to text, text to speech as well.
100%.
So it really
yes.
depends on what you're looking for, but there's like a lot, as we can see.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now these are all pre-built skills which are available, so you don't need to write a single line of code for this. Just go ahead, say I want to use printed text recognition, I want to use sentimental analysis. You specify which kind of services you want to use, the built-in APIs which you want to use, and it will actually apply on top of your data so that it can properly understand what the data you have. Okay. The second type of the skills which are available are called as the custom skills. Okay. The custom skills are the ones where you train for your data. Okay. Where in some cases, you don't have an example, or you don't have something which fits
those built-in
services. So you can actually go ahead and build a custom skill, and that custom skill you can actually go ahead and put it on top of your Azure Cognitive Search, and you can utilize it with the data which you have available. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are all the built-in skills which are available. So the custom entity lookup, I have personally used the sentimental analysis, the document extraction, object detection. Then you have the printed text recognition, face detection. So I've used most of them in that case, where this helps us to actually have a perfect search model on top of the services. So what is semantic search? That's
something that you're going to tell us.
Yes. Okay. So actually, semantic search is divided into 4 parts. But before going into that, I wanted to hear from my audience. Do you know anything about semantic search? Or have you heard of this concept before?
New to everyone? Anyone? Yeah.
It defines what the data is all about, so you can get a tag, something that is meaningful to the end user.
Yes, 100% correct. So I'll add up to your point. Is Hadil gave an example. What is the capital of France, right? What do you expect? I don't expect a URL to go inside that and then read the whole document and then find out that on line number 100 or something, it is written that the capital of France is Paris, right? What I want is, when I'm doing that, I should get the answer first. And if you see on the top, when I type what is the capital of France, it should give me Paris as first, which is where the sentence was exactly present, that it is the capital city of France. And in some cases, this was a very easy example, but in some cases, when your search is too complicated, in that case, what happens is, yes, you provided a relevant caption to it, but you want to also provide some external links which you think are kind of relevant for the end user and which comes in the later rankings of it. So when I talk about semantic search, you mentioned one point is how you rank them.
Yeah, priority.
Okay? The priority of that.
Most relevant to the list.
Correct.
Yeah.
So whenever the skills are applied on top of your data, it will actually do 4 things. First of all, it will rank your search results. So what should come first, what should come second, what should come second and third. Second one is, it will give you a semantic answer to your actual query. So the semantic answer is the one which is present on the top. You see over here. This is your, answer to the capital of France, which is your semantic answer. The rankings is present over here. The semantic captions is where, as I told you, when I'm opening a document, I don't want to read the whole document to find out where exactly the concept of search, whatever I was searching for, answer is.
Yeah.
So what it does is, if you see out here, it kind of captions out kind of a 2-line summary for you of, in that document you can find this text which may have the answer what you're looking for. Okay. And The last one is the spell check, which I do always. When I go to search, my both hands are not coordinated together. So when you're typing with both hands, this hand is faster than this hand. So sometimes in the H is first, then the T. So you can imagine, right? So these kind of spelling mistakes, I don't know how many of you face this, but
We all do every day.
so you have a lot of spelling mistakes, and your search engine should be understanding what you meant,
Yeah.
and then search
And
according to
providing you with the answers that you are actually looking
Correct.
for.
that. Correct, 100%. So that is where the semantic search comes into the picture. So whenever we are actually building up our cognitive search, we keep 4 things in mind: our semantic ranking, the semantic answers, the semantic captions, and the spell check available with us.
Yeah.
So this was the first part of our search process, right? So we took care of what kind of results to show, how to show that. The next one, it's very important also, which is the query which you're passing to the search engine. Okay, so it should have autocomplete. So you know, it's a funny story. When you are typing on Google, you type how to, and it gives
It will
you,
give you a billion results. Yeah.
yes.
On
So
what
that
you
is a
want,
part
that's
of
it. Yeah.
a query,
Yeah.
which is when you are providing a search engine on top of your data, you kind of provide autocomplete. You kind of provide term matching, partial term matching. If you mean this, you mean that, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You provide wildcard. Wildcard is something, we don't use it much, but yes, that is one of them.
Suggestions.
Yes, filtering, faceting.
Of
So
course.
these are some of the things which are included in your query, which you can actually go ahead and train on your Azure Cognitive Search service.
Yeah.
And how do we realize these values in the industries, right? So we had a lot of customers who are already using Azure Cognitive Search. Okay, I would like to just go an overview so that we just know what they have been doing.
Yeah.
So in some companies, they actually used in retail and media industries where they kind of increase their focus on how people use their content in media industry, and how their content is actually presented to the user. This is one of them. In legal and financial services, I've seen it in many places where it is very that it's 100% that when you go on a website and you see terms and conditions, how many of you read it? No one, right? So it creates a lot of legal and financial issues and services where you as an end user, when you have all these terms and conditions available, you can actually get a gist of it. Or when you're doing contract negotiations and stuff like that, it's good for financial organizations and companies like this to bring their data and then summarize it for your end user in that case, right? So this is one of the use case scenarios. And in healthcare you
Patient data, lots of information,
That's
lots of files
huge.
and documents.
Correct.
You might have like an urgent kind of case, and you need like the patient document.
100%.
So Azure Cognitive Service obviously can be used to kind of
Correct.
help you find the document that you're looking for in a way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And to add you to that point is, in healthcare industry is so critical nowadays that you change hospitals, you change doctors,
Of course.
and it's if so what I know from the country is your health records are kind of centralized. So
Centralized, yes, of course.
it's a good way to to kind of search your data and then bring it to. So this is some of the use case scenarios which can also be used in
I'm pretty
in that
sure
case.
you can find it in other many applications and use cases.
Yes.
But these are just like kind of to name a few. Yeah.
Correct. So let's start with knowledge mining with Azure Cognitive Services in details. Okay. So what happens is, as I said, it's a 3-step process, right?
Yeah.
Let's go into details with each and every process, and I will try to explain you and everyone over here of how each and every process affects you while you're building the Azure Cognitive Search.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with the first one, which is the ingest. Ingesting of data means you are just trying to take your data and give that data access to the Azure Cognitive Search. Okay.
Feed it
In very
inside.
simple way.
Yeah.
Yes, feed it in them. Okay. Now the best part is you have a lot of connectors which are available, which you can actually connect to your Azure Cognitive Search. So if I talk about the first party data services which are available are Azure Blob Storages, Cosmos DB, SQL Database, Table Storage, SharePoint Online, and all these services. If you have your data lying anywhere over here, you can actually go ahead and connect it to your Azure Cognitive Search. Okay. So this is the first step, bringing your data in to your Azure Cognitive Search. If at all you have some platforms which are external to Azure or to Microsoft services like Amazon Redshift, Elasticsearch, any Salesforce data, or
Snowflake. Yeah.
anywhere. So you have your data in any of the third-party applications. You can actually create or have Power Query connectors, and you can have that data brought to your Azure Cognitive Search. If at all none of this work for you, there is like the on-premise data gateway. If you can actually go ahead and also have custom connectors built by Microsoft partners or solution providers for you, which you can have custom connectors available where you can actually have your own data being available for Azure Cognitive Search. Okay. Now, what happens over here is in your Cognitive Search, you are open to all the data types which are available or commonly used. So you can use PDF, you can use PNG images, RTF, JSON, HTML data, XML data, and different
And it
different
could
kinds
take,
of data.
unstructured data, structured data.
Yes,
Take basically any
correct,
format
anything.
as well.
So for example, the JSON data, right? So
Yeah.
we saw in our the example of job hunting, right?
Yeah.
Parsing the resumes, right? In that case, what happened is there's no fixed structure of a resume, right? Everyone
Format.
builds their own
Yeah,
resume.
some
So
will
it's
be in graph, some will be
correct.
written.
So someone correct, someone writes their name here, someone
Yeah.
writes their name there. So it's very difficult to have a common place,
Structure
a
or
structure.
place, yeah.
So that's why all this data are kind of an unstructured data.
Yeah.
Same with your PDF files. All your PDF files cannot be of the same format or of the same structure. So this is kind of considered as a unstructured data. So what will happen is we use this data sets or data sources and go ahead and push data to an index. Okay. Do you know what an index is? What is an index?
Any thoughts?
It's a unique key. Okay.
Identify the data.
So not exactly a unique key, but so unique key can be a primary key, for example, right? But you
like database index.
sorting, okay, it can be one part of that. As in
Easy to search from the list.
yes, that's the end result of an index, right? So I will give you an example of a SQL database, for example, right? You have data in tables, in rows and columns, right?
Yeah.
So you might have a primary key, correct? But maybe in a university we used to learn about algorithms like I forgot the name of that algorithm, but we used to learn that algorithms where bucket sort and something like that, right? Sorting and
way back.
sorting and searching algorithms, right?
Yeah.
We used to learn in data structures. So what that index does is it kinds of finds a way to search your data in the minimum time you can. So you will have, so you can set up an index on your primary key also, or you can set up index to whatever data combinations you want to put there. Okay. So what you are doing over here is you're pushing your data to your indexes, and that index is what you define in the cognitive search. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear.
So what you will do is you will submit, like, for example, individual docs and batches with a small set of batches, which is like, for example, 1000 batch per 16 MBs. You can use REST APIs or any other SDKs to pull that data for you, and you can pull data into an indexer also, which can crawl data for you. So for example, you know what a crawler is, right? A web crawler. So it can read data from different websites and then collect that indexes for you in that case. So when you're using custom apps or non-Azure stores, that time you push that data to the index. And when you're using data on the Azure store environment and you want to leverage your AI enrichments, in that case, you go ahead and pull data through indexer. So this is where how you are actually ingesting your data into your cognitive search. Okay.
Makes sense.
Is that clear for you?
Very clear. Makes sense. Do we have any questions from the audience, or is it clear? I think it's clear.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
The next one is the product search. Okay. This is one example which I wanted to show everyone of how that the first process of ingesting this data and how it can be applicable and what points are important for you. Okay. The 5 points which are very important for me when I go to Amazon, I'll take an Amazon example so that it can be relatable to all of you. One is the query or understanding the user intent of what I'm trying to search. This is first. Second one is the search support. So if I want to filter out with something, or I want to put a refinement, so which is my third point. Like I'm looking for a laptop, I want search
And
results to only
HP,
give
for
16
example.
GB. Yeah, so something like this. It can give me direct answers through my knowledge,
Mm.
and it can give me relevance depending on
What
what
I'm
I've searched in the past, or my context of what I was
history,
using.
preferences, and such. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is how a project search, which uses an intelligent platform, faceting mentions or methods available out there. You have a good knowledge store available, so that you can fill out full of the data. You have relevance, and you have the search support in that case. Okay. Now deeper look at this data, or how you can actually do this. So on the top, what you see, Hadil, is an actual screenshot from the Azure Cognitive Search. Okay. What it will do is, I have taken, if it is not clear, I will try to explain it with the laser. So what it does is, whenever I'm uploading the data to my index, okay, it is defined by a schema. Okay, and it will give me the fields where I want to actually concentrate on. Okay, so I can give you an example over here. Is when I'm scanning all the invoices. Correct. In the invoices, when I'm parsing that invoices, so there is an AI, there's a cognitive skill which I can use called as form recognizer, where I can scan all the invoices. From the invoices, I have things which are important to me, which is who the invoice is for, what are the line items,
the most important details.
What is the total amount, what is the due date, and maybe what is the account number for the party which I have to pay. Okay, what I can do over there is, whenever I come to my Azure Cognitive Search and I pull that kind of my data source, it will automatically generate for me few points or few indexes here in that case, where I can say that this index is retrievable, this index is filterable, this index is sortable, or it can be facetable and searchable also. So what will happen is, whenever I'm setting up my context of what data I have, I can say that, okay, I want to search and filter by the customer name. Okay, but I want to actually go ahead and retrieve my customer information. So these are two things, but taking it from the same data source in that case, right? So what will happen over here is, whenever you are actually building up that engine on Azure Cognitive Search, we advise customers to bring small data first of a type of what you're trying to understand, run a POC on top of that, and understand what kind of indexes can come up for you. Okay, when that indexes come from you, you can actually go ahead and create the search indexes. Okay, and you can actually make this better using something called as a query execution client application. Okay, what will happen over here is, you can actually, whatever search index you have built, you can actually release REST APIs, and that REST APIs can be linked out to your portal, a client application, and you can understand how accurate that is in terms of giving your relevance tuning, giving your autocomplete suggestions. So there are some search cases also where you want something, but in the database it is mentioned as something else. Like for example, you mentioned like give me a good synonym example for searching. For example, yeah, I'm looking for a laptop, right?
Yeah. To give you computer, monitor.
Yes, something like that, right?
Technology, so, maybe.
Agree. So something like this, where it gives me synonyms of that, and this will help us to actually go ahead, and whenever you are ingesting this data, always test it with your REST APIs to make sure that whatever indexes you were looking for are properly searchable, filterable, and all the other retrievable in that case, right? So this is how you actually index and take the process forward into your next step.
This is why it's kind of important to index this kind of data.
Correct. Now at this point, what has happened is, you have just gathered your data and start putting indexes, right? But you haven't applied a lot of AI on top of that, right? Now this is where our next step comes in. Okay, so we finished ingesting.
Mhm.
Now we want to enrich all this data in a better way.
By enriching, you mean training AI models and doing all that kind of algorithms and models and
Yes.
all
So
that
either
heavy.
we correct. So either we
lifting.
use the pre-built
Yeah.
cognitive skills,
Yeah.
or we use the custom cognitive skills
Custom
which you have
skills
built.
that we talked about before.
Correct,
Yeah.
100%. So let's go ahead and see the enrich part of it. So enriching, I kind of created one example. Okay, what I will do is, after explaining you this architecture, I will give you a very real world scenario where you can understand how it can be applied into a real world scenario and where you can actually use it. Okay,
And as we said, sorry, but the only difference is traditionally before we used to kind of ingest our data and then get our search results.
yes,
before,
but we have to
traditionally,
actually to train
enrich
indexes in
and
that
train
case.
the AI models.
Yes.
Which you're
We
gonna be talking
we
about.
didn't had AI models
Of
back
course,
then,
yeah.
but mostly we used to create indexes of our own
Mm.
and then find out. So I'll tell you one of the simple examples. A few years back, I was working with one of the IoT based applications where you know what IoT is, right?
Yes,
It's
Internet of Things.
Internet of Things,
Yeah.
right? So we were collecting data from smaller sensors,
Yeah.
and when you're building applications like this, you have millions and millions of data coming every minute. Okay, for us to now search on top of that data, like in a minute you will have like billions of data available with you, right? It's very hard to actually make sense of that data, and you cannot run AI models on top of that.
Yeah, of
So
course.
what we used to do is, we used to kind of build custom indexes on top of that data and then try to filter it out
Filter
and
it
then
out,
make
yeah.
sense of that data,
Mm,
right?
mm.
But now when we have Azure Cognitive Search,
Mm.
how it works is, the first part of is ingestion of your data, where you take all your source files,
Yeah.
put it into the ingestion pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay, now what will happen is, as we said, in the enrichment part, or the second step of us, which is we will be doing a document cracking, where
What's
we will
document
trying to
cracking?
make sense of more of your data, right?
So can you give me an example of what document cracking is?
uh,
Is it like when you have like a huge maybe number of data sets, for example,
Yes.
and then break them up into smaller pieces, kind
Correct.
of to focus on each one, right?
100%. So
Yeah.
I'll give you one good example. I just
Yeah.
remembered it. So the ebook example again.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to actually map it to the example which is present out here,
Okay.
which is, in the ebook you might have tables, you might have images, which there are places where you want to search that part also. So not only text, but you want to search between images.
Yeah.
Like find out data
Yeah.
where there is a car image, right?
Yeah.
So this will help us to actually find that. So the document cracking, what will happen over here is, that document will be divided into such ways that I will have an enrichment model on top of that, which will take my computer vision, it will take my text analytics, build up a
Break-
pipeline,
Mm.
and it will also serve, in some cases, I want to also add machine learning algorithms
Yes.
and search APIs on top of that,
Mm.
so that it can kind of gather the insights for it, and then it will create an end result of enriched documents for me.
Okay.
Okay,
Makes sense.
so what happens over here is, your raw data or your unstructured data is now being stored into something called as a knowledge store,
Yeah.
which is a searchable data, proper structured data in that case, which is also indexed in such a way that as an end result you connect your knowledge store to anything you want.
Anything. Okay.
So one good example, I tried it with one of our customers, where we connected this knowledge store to your chatbot. So a chatbot can actually go ahead and answer your queries from the data which is available in your organization. Okay, so not only cognitive search, but a part of the end result can be anything which still utilizes cognitive search in some part of your solution, which the end user doesn't need to know about it, or it gives you a better experience for your end user, right?
Yeah.
So what enrichment will do for us is, you actually either can have two kinds of pipelines over here. One pipeline will do all your skills, which are your pre-built
Built
skills
skills.
or custom skills if you want. Take that, and all this enriched data will be stored into your knowledge
enriched,
store,
yeah.
and that knowledge store can be utilized wherever you want in that case. Okay,
Makes sense.
so what are the pre-trained and customizable models you can use over here? So the pre-trained ones are computer vision. I wanted to explain you each one of them, but I'll try to be as brief as I can. So computer vision will give you data about the scenes, what is happening, captioning, and tags and stuff like that. Okay, so for example, if you click a picture of us here,
Mm.
it will kind of give you a caption that someone is speaking on the stage,
Yeah.
right? This is how computer vision works. There is custom vision, which I told you that if you want to do a classification model, you can actually put a custom vision where you can upload your images, tag it or annotate it accordingly and say this is this.
Mm.
So any new images which come in,
Yeah.
it will kind of understand it as per your custom vision.
Mhm.
Face API is where you can understand whose face it is, okay? How happy you are, how
Yeah.
sad you are, what is your age, gender, lot of different
Qualities
properties
and properties. Yeah.
about you
Yeah.
using your face API, okay?
Mm.
For speech, you have speech to text,
Yeah.
text to speech, translation in many languages. I think so. Right now, 84 languages are supported for speech to text in that case.
Mm.
And speaker recognition is where it understands what is being spoken and then it is getting converted into the languages you want as an end result. So if Hadil is talking to me in Arabic, I can understand that or I can hear that in English in real time in that case. The language one is where, the language one is where you can actually get meaning of your data from the unstructured text,
Mm.
which is language understanding, query language. You have the Q&A maker. Have you used Q&A maker before?
No, I have not.
So it's a very good service. You might try it out where you have FAQs on your website, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually turn that FAQs into a chatbot with like 2-3 clicks.
Mm.
What you do is you kind of export that into Excel, okay, with a question and answer, and upload that to Q&A maker. Q&A maker will try to understand the question and the relevant answer to it. And now, when you are actually searching for something, it will semantically understand the question and link to your proper FAQ. So it will only give you the answer which is relevant, irrespective of how you are asking that question. So it doesn't mean that what you have put your question, it will understand that question, and any type of that question is asked can be given the similar answer for you.
Mm.
So the Q&A maker is that. You have text analytics and translator services. So all the services come under language. And the decision one is where you have the anomaly detector,
Yeah.
the moderator, and the personalizer.
Mhm.
Personalizer is where you can actually use for your own services, where you know how you can personalize stuff
Yeah.
for your own data.
For your own project or
Correct.
data. Yeah.
For anomaly detector and the
Mm.
content moderator, I've used that in past scenarios where anomaly detector can be used for fire,
Yeah.
hazardous scenarios, spills and stuff like that,
Mm.
where you can actually use that. Moderators is where you can say who can push what type of content, copyright
Yeah.
contents and stuff like that. You can actually take care of that with the decision APIs.
Which we see
This
everywhere.
now you will ask me a question where, for example, how would I use content moderator in Azure Cognitive Search?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So some cases a company can find out how much copyright information is available in their own storage. Okay. So this is one of the good places where you can actually find out whether you are breaching some of your laws and stuff like that, or some policies in that case, which cognitive search will help you to find that out in your scenarios.
Amazing.
So knowledge store is nothing but the data which is enriched right now. It's actually stored in either the Azure table storage or Azure blob storage, which can be actually connected to any of your sources in that case. Okay. And the last part, which is
search. So obviously we've ingested our data, we've done all the enrichment, knowledge,
Correct.
AI models, and all that stuff. So the last thing is the search.
How do we search it?
Yes.
So we have our smart data available with us.
Yeah.
And the last one is how do we search it? So the searching parts or analyzing these queries and can be actually done with 3 different ways. You have a Visual Studio Code search code extension, which you can include that Azure Cognitive Search in your applications. So whichever language you're using, you can actually use that using the SDKs which are available. You can actually use this cognitive search in Power BI and Power Apps. Okay. So when you're doing some reporting, you can make smart reporting in that case, where you can actually let users know what kind of data or what kind of reports you're searching for can be taken out from your knowledge store and can be given to them. And in your web application, so already the Azure Cognitive Search has a REST API. So using the REST APIs, you can use any kind of languages you have, like whether it is Python, whether it is C#, whatever language you're using, you can go ahead and build applications and take the power of Azure Cognitive Search in your application. So what are the next steps? We have a lot of knowledge mining workshops which you can actually join in. You have Power Skills repository, you have solution accelerators, you have a lot of Microsoft Learn courses, which
The Microsoft Learn platform is actually, for anyone who doesn't know, we have the Microsoft Learn platform, has amazing free tools, knowledge, modules, learning paths for you, kind of exploring all tech topics that you're interested in. So let's say
Yes.
you want to learn about no code and no code Power Apps, Power BI. You would just go on our Microsoft Learn platform, search there, you would have millions and tons of content for you.
Correct.
So, you can explore, for example, let's say you want to kind of explore knowledge mining more, or maybe semantic search more, you would literally find these topics on our Microsoft Learn platform. So would highly recommend you to check that out for extra resources.
I have a QR code at the end of the presentation.
Yeah.
You can share it and you can, visit that link. So this is it. This is the overview of Azure Cognitive Search, where you implement this, ingest your data, integrate your data in whatever format or whatever types of applications you want, customize it according to your business needs, and have the best semantic search out there right now whenever you want to run it on top of your data.
So Hatem, you would say that like Azure Cognitive Search is kind of, it has all the capabilities that you are basically looking for in a search engine
100%.
today, from
Yes.
semantic search, faceting, anything, any kind of cognitive skills as well. That's the best way to put it out there, maybe.
100%. So actually what you said is correct, is it's not only a proper like a search engine, but it's more of you adding skill sets on top of that, which is custom to you. So what type of skills you want to apply on top of your data can be used. So I have a very good example which I wanted to actually discuss according to your structure. Okay. So the example is for an insurance company. Okay. Now what happens in this insurance company is you were driving and you met with an accident, right? How the cognitive search can be used, I will include that. So your end user will just take images of your car and the police report and upload it to the portal through maybe Power Apps, right? What will happen over here is we will classify the document, and using the cognitive skills, so the data ingestion is already done, which is the customer uploaded the police report and the customer uploaded the pictures of the damage of the car. Okay. Now what happens is, according to the damage with the image, you can actually find out using using computer vision, okay, to find out if how much the damage is, whether the car can be gone to a total waste or it can be still be repaired, right? What will happen is it will do the damage detection, and the police report from form recognizer, it will recognize the whole form and try to get the data of whose mistake it was and what happened, which side and stuff like that, right? Store that into a model or a training place where you can actually put all this data, classify it accordingly, and process this for you using these two services. So we had two skills available. One is damage detection skills using computer vision. One is form recognizer to understand the form and find out the damage and the type of the damage and stuff like that. And plus it has the car plate number,
description
and all these
everything
details.
in the
Yes.
accident.
So it made this smart for me. And with automation, what happened is at the end, without waiting for a claim person to help us to know what will happen next, the insurance company will automate that according to all this process and automation. It will just go ahead and give you the end result that, okay, your garage is this and this is the approved amount and stuff like that. This is all an automated process where none of the insurance claim person is included in between, and you kind of wait and then do stuff like that. So this is kind of an integrated data available, or integrated search available, you can say, where your data is available, you're running some skills on top of that, and end result is where you can also have some dashboards, your expert systems to actually take care of your claim management and automation overview. Correct? And I think that is it for us today. If you have any questions, now there are two scenarios which can happen. Either you understood everything or everything went,
I hope it's the first one.
Yeah.
I hope it's the first option.
So ask questions if you have anything, if you have something which you want to, to know more about it. I will just go ahead and, till the time I'll put the QR code up so you can share and you can think about your questions.
So Hatem, that was a very how would I say this? Very interesting,
Thank
kind of
you.
introductory or deep dive to Azure Cognitive Search. And for people who haven't used it before, like me, it kind of gets you excited to actually, start kind of exploring this platform and going through, all the services that you have, the skills that you have, and such. So very, amazing presentation on that part. And do we have any questions from the audience or maybe online? Cut?
Sorry.
This platform is already stable.
Yes. So I think so. It's in the market maybe from 4.5, 5 years now, and I personally have been using it with a lot of customers and a lot of developers. So previously, like when I actually started working on it, it was not that matured, but now it's like not matured in the sense that time the data sources were very limited. So one of the things is you bring more and more data sources to your platform, and then you make it searchable or getting understanding your data more in that
Yeah.
case. So that is one of the improvements which I've seen over the years. And another good advantage over here is when you're talking about the skills, right? The skills are nothing but the cognitive services which you have been using with Azure since maybe 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
So these are like separately trained and different engine, but you are just reutilizing it here in your cognitive search environment.
So let's wrap up. Thank you to the audience here, and thank you to the online audience for joining us. Hatim, it was a pleasure kind of presenting this with you.
Thank you.
This is the Microsoft Learn platform. Please make sure to check it out. We have amazing resources, and also join us on our Microsoft Reactor Middle East and Africa on Meetup group. This is where you kind of can stay up to date with our
Yes.
latest events that we're doing, always in person and online. Exploring, with other speakers, different technologies that you might be interested in. So make sure to check us out. And that being said, yeah, we're done for today. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
I want to just add one more point here.
Yeah.
Is if you are interested to collaborate and be a part of this, we are very happy to have you. So just let us know. Usam is here, Adil is here. So
Yes.
you can contact any one of us. And if you wish to to come here and speak and share your knowledge, we are open to that. So
Everyone
we
is
can,
welcome.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have pizzas on the back. So